Hey folks, and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our book for today is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is the first book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series by Douglas Adams. Now there is destruction and death death of aliens and humans, and one ship suicide. So if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Right, so this is the second time I've tried to read A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, though this time I actually succeeded in finishing it. The first time, as I mentioned before, I've attempted to... I had a big edition, like the really pretty one, with the green little alien and the... Anyway, I'll show an image here if I can find it. That's the one I had, and I started reading it, and I didn't finish, because... Oh boy, it was boring. and if you know, when you see the edition, you'll know what I mean. It's got that tiny lettering, too. Which, oh boy. Makes reading... If you don't like the book, it makes the reading a nightmare. Not a nightmare, but a laborious job. Laborious? The hard work. But this time I have this edition, which I bought... I think I haven't bought it that long ago, maybe a year or two ago. But for some reason the gold is... started to come off. I've never had a book with something like this, so maybe that happens. But yeah, you can't see the gold very well. I think it's even... Oh, sorry. I think it's even removed a bit over here, too. You see there's some holes in there. Unless those were intentional. Yeah, so you can't see to the anymore, and barely can see the galaxy here. But yeah, I have this edition with... I'm sorry, I forgot. With illustrations by Chris Riddell. I will show some illustrations later. But yes. So, back it was... I don't remember what year. I think it might have been 2000... Oh, shit. 17? 18? No, even sooner, maybe. Anyway, the year doesn't matter. I tried to read it years ago. I couldn't finish it. It was boring. And I don't have that book, that edition, anymore. I got this one. I finally sat down to read it. I was going to read only 10 pages a day. And then Thursday, I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to finish it so I don't have to see it again. And I finished it. So, now this didn't start out as a book series, actually. Douglas Adams, he has told the story to where he was hitchhiking in Europe. What year was it? It was the 70s, I think. And he was sleeping outside one night, and he didn't get the idea for the story itself, he just got the idea for name. Because at the time he had the book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to Europe. And then he thought, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, while he was... I think he said he was wasted. He was drunk. And he forgot about it, and then years later when he wrote this, he remembered the name. Because first it started out as a radio show, and... radio show, and then it had... and then there was a movie, too, with... I did say this, Martin Freeman? Oh, shit. I'll leave it here. I don't remember, but that actor who played John Watson in BBC Sherlock. That's the dude, He played Arthur, one of the main characters here, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's quite a history to it. I think the books are even collected as the chapters of the of the radio show. So it's confusing. No, it must have been interesting at the time to listen to the radio show. Probably a different experience. Right, so the book starts with Arthur. The stuff there's sprinkled in. There's stuff about the aliens and shit. But yes, the story starts because Arthur Dent's house is about to be destroyed, so they can make a road through it. And well, obviously he's upset. But that coincidentally at the same time, these fuck ugly aliens are about to come and remove Earth to also make a pathway of some sort. Yes. So they manage, not manage, they destroy the Earth, but Arthur is saved because his friend of 5 or 6 years, Ford Prefect, which was a joke because it was a model of a car, but you would only know that if you're from the UK. Because people, even Douglas Adams said people thought he misspelled perfect. So Ford, thanks to Ford, Arthur is saved. And they get a hitch on the Vogan. I'm not gonna bother. I'm pretty sure I don't know how to pronounce any of these aliens' names and shit, and I'm not gonna leave them on screen because there's too fucking many of them and I can't be fucked. Right. So they hitch a ride, but then the Vogans are nasty aliens and fuck ugly too. And they don't like hitchhikers, so they throw them out into space. Well, the chief makes them throw out into space, the chief, the commander. But then, in a huge improbability, they're saved by another character, Zofed. I'm not even going to pronounce his surname. Because he stole a shit. He's the president of the galaxy. Something like that. And he had this ship built, and then he stole it. And it so happens, the improbability is bloody huge, that he ends up, and accidentally, because of the ship saves Arthur and Ford. Like 1 second before they died of asphyxiation in space. Lucky bastards. And then we meet, we made Zofed, and he also has another human with him, the second surviving human from Earth, named Trillian. The real name is Tricia Macmillan, though. Tricia? Anyway, now she goes by Trillian. She left Earth 6 months ago with Zofed, and she also knows Arthur. They met at a party, and Zofed crashed, which very, very much upsets Ford because he's been stuck on Earth for 15 years. He couldn't leave. I should mention, Ford is a writer for this Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's one of the greatest books. So he was writing something about Earth, but then got stuck there. And only thanks to the Earth being destroyed, he finally got out of there. Yes. So, they all meet again. Apparently, Zofed and Ford are semi-cousins. I'm not sure what that means, but they're semi-cousins. So now the 4 of them are, gonna go on an adventure, continue on an adventure, and Arthur has to come to terms with the Earth being destroyed. Though he's much more concerned about this column that won't exist anymore. But this whole book is supposed to be comedic and funny, but I'm sad to say the humor escapes me completely, which made this a chore to read. Anyway, it continues on with them, with the ship making calculations. Zofed's looking for this planet, Magaretha something. It's practically a myth by now, because it used to be a manufacturer of planets. People would build planets, and then these aliens would build planets to your heart's desire. But then the economy crashed, and so they all went into hibernation until the economy would be restored again. So, Zofed wants to, for some reason, find it. There's also, he done something to himself to block out some information, so he could also qualify to being the president of the galaxy. He knows he did it because he left initials in his brain to tell himself he's done that to himself. Yes. Oh, also he has 2 heads and an extra pair of arms. He didn't have them before. Yes, anyway. So they reach this planet, which Ford at first refuses to believe, but there they are. They land, it's all dead. They're almost killed by missiles, but then Arthur presses the improbability device and turns the missiles to a giant whale and a pot of petunias. Poor whale. He died, obviously. So they go down there, and where the whale fell, it made a crack in the ground, and Ford, Trillian, and Zephod go look for it, and Arthur is left near the entrance with the robot Marvin, who's one depressing motherfucker, let me tell you. You yourself want to strangle him. Yeah, he's a very depressed robot. The company that built the ship thought it'd be hilarious to give the robots human personalities. That's the joke. So while they go inside and search, they get into this room. Zofed starts to explain why he's doing this. He's not sure, and then he tells about the thing in his brain. And there's some gas appears, and they all fall unconscious. Back with Arthur, he walks around, there's nothing to do. And then he meets an old man who's from this planet. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Fuck that. The old man's from this planet. And he tells Arthur what I told you, that people couldn't afford them, so they all went to sleep until the economy was workable again. And now they all woke up. And then he takes Arthur to the factory to show him that they're rebuilding the Earth. And this old man actually built Norway originally, and he got an award for it. Yes. And now he tells him, yeah, the Earth was this, this giant computer built by mice. Hey, so the whole thing is, there was a race of aliens who wanted to know the answer to life, to meaning, to everything. And they built this computer to tell them that. Right? And the computer said, well, you have to wait 7 million years for me to calculate this shit. So they're like, okay. And then there was these 2 philosophers who were angry at it, but then the computer told them, you can totally milk this for 7 million years. And they're like, okay, whatever, we'll do it. So 7 million years pass. They finally get the answer, and the answer is 42. That's the answer to the meaning of life. But then obviously not satisfied. What does that mean? And then, he looks, well, you didn't really ask me a question, right? You asked a general question. Which, yeah, fair enough. That's true. The question was too general, so you got a general answer. So now they want this computer to calculate the question. So then they'll have the question and the answer. So he tells them, well, I can't, because I'm only the second greatest computer. I will create the first greatest computer for you. I will build it. So that's essentially the Earth. And these creatures from another dimension, aliens from another dimension, and the dimension where they built their computer, they look like mice. But in their own dimension, they look way different. So, so they've done that, right? 10 million years passed. They almost have the answer until the Vogons arrive and, destroy the planet 5 minutes before they get the answer. Yeah. Sucks, right? All that work and then, fuck. They should have created... thinking about it, they should have just created a system to protect the Earth or something against the Vulcan, against anything, really. And then nothing would have happened. But anyway, and also Trillian has 2 mice with her that she brought from Earth. Right, so he tells Arthur all of this. He shows him like a fancy advanced recording of the events, and then he takes him to meet the mice. So Arthur goes in and he sees that his only Ford is his friend technically. He sees the others, and they're all eating and telling him, "Oh, these are our hosts." So the mice that Trillian brought with her were obviously all the mice are actually aliens, and they've been manipulating the people. All these tests, they were doing them themselves to manipulate people and get them to learn things. So those 2 finished some assignment, and that's how they ended up with Trillian. She was taking them, so they went, them going with her was kind of a vacation, essentially. So they look at Arthur and like, hey, so yeah, all of that was destroyed for us. One of the mice is Nat, I don't remember that. I think one was named Frankie, maybe. Anyway, they both tell him, yeah, it all sucks, and the old man's there. Well, I made, now I'm working on that. Oh, now he's working on Africa. Anyway, the mice tell the old man that they might not need the replica of the Earth anymore, because they have Arthur there. And then they dismiss him. So what they want to do is they tell Arthur, well, we want to buy your brain from you, because you were there up until the last second, so you might have the answer in your brain. So we need to take it out of your head and dice and slice it. Obviously, Arthur's not happy about this, nor wants to participate. Understandable. And then they're about to... they're sitting in these little glass floating thingies. They look like whiskey glasses. Anyway, they start flying towards him. The others try to save Arthur. They managed to open the door, but oh no, a lot of goons are running their way with operation equipment. But they're all saved because the police is after Zofed, the Galactic Police. And because they land, they have all the alarms on. And a lot of heavy trophies fall on the goons, and the mice are on the floor. Now, all 4 of them run away while the mice sit there and think, what do we do? Shit, we have to go back to our planet, our dimension. What do we do? But they start coming up with the question they can use to milk everything, because they don't actually have the question. Right, so the others run away. 2 galaxy cops are after them and start shooting at them. There's a whole stupid exchange. And then they suddenly stop. Ford goes out to see what's going on there. He goes out, and then he sees that both of the cops are dead. So he and Zofod grab their blaster guns, and they run out of this place to get the fuck out of there. And as they run outside to their ship called the Heart of Gold, the one Zofod stole, they see the police ship. Now, these aliens, they can't breathe the air that's on the planet, and something happened to their spacesuits, so they died of asphyxiation. And then the others go to the ship, but Ford goes closer to investigate, and he sees Marvin lying on the ground. So what happened was, Marvin approached the ship and started talking to it. But as he says, the ship hated me, so it committed suicide. Yeah, it committed suicide. Yeah, I'll give Marvin this. He's a depressing fucker, but a useful depressing fucker. So he saved them unintentionally. And so they go back on the ship and get the hell out of there. And then as they're flying, And Arthur is sitting with the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, thinking, I might as well learn something about the galaxy since I'm now stuck there, because the Earth is destroyed. And then he gets a call in the ship intercom with Zolfed asking him if he's hungry. And he says, yeah. So I said, great, let's go to the restaurant at the end of the universe. I think that was the name of the rest, maybe. Yeah, I think that was it. Well, I'll check in a minute. And that's it. That is the end of book 1. It was, yeah. I will say there were moments that were easier to read through, but some were, oh my god. There's a lot of made-up names in here and things like that you don't even fucking know how to pronounce. And again, I get this whole book is supposed to be comedic and funny, but it's so hard to read when you don't understand the humor. It's just, because it feels to you all silly and stupid and like, what the fuck? But yeah, but it's not a boring book, I will say. It's just, when you don't get the humor like I did, it was, But I finished it, fucking finally, and I will never have to see it again. Alright, so although some of the gold's out, I do like this cover. There's Marvin, by the way. And that's the cup of tea, because Arthur wants tea while he's there. And, well, let me show you some illustrations of Chris Riddell before we conclude this thing. So first of all, this is why I think this edition's really cool. I mean, look at that. That's all his illustrations, but in color. That's very beautiful. Which is why I thought of keeping this book, but I'm not going to in the end. There it is, see? There are the books. So we have, the restaurant at the end of the universe. And then we have Life, the Universe, and Everything. And then there's So Long and Thanks for All the Fish. And then Mostly Harmless. This is the last book of this series. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish is actually referring to... there's a section in the book where the dolphins are the smartest on Earth, and they knew that the Vogons would come. And they tried to warn humanity, but humanity didn't understand. And that was what the last dolphin that stayed on Earth before leaving said to them. Oh, you see, there's more. Oh, that's really pretty. I mean, look at that. I like these. Alright, let me show you some inside illustrations. 1 second. Let me find some. They're sprinkled in. This is one of the aliens. This one's a dumb one. Because if you put on a blanket on yourself and you can't look at it, this thing thinks it can't see you either. Oh, there's also a 3-titted lady here. Which made me wonder if this was written before or after Total Recall with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Although granted, I guess coming up with a 3-titted lady alien lady isn't exactly top-tier imagination. There we go. That's the ship. You see that's Marvin lying down there? Made the ship commit suicide. Commit harakiri. That's, right. There's another one. Yeah, so the illustrations by Chris Riddell are really awesome. I should write down below his name too, actually. There we go. Trillian. I wanted to show you her. This is Trillian. This is that particular party where she met Zephod. They're not in a relationship, I think. They're just... I mean, she goes with him, and you kind of think that maybe they're in a relationship, but I don't think so. I think it's more she wanted to fuck off of the planet, and he was, well, an actual alien. That's the heart of gold. It's a really nice looking ship. Oh, let me show you the whale. There we go. And one more. Oh, there are the Vogons. Oh, they are ugly fuckers, aren't they? Those are not them in the back. Those are the aliens working for them. I wonder if I can find an illustration with Ford Prefect. Maybe there isn't one. Oh well, I don't remember. Let's not prolong this video too much. Oh, okay, there we go. That's a bit unstraightened. We'll just leave it like that. Yes, so that was the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Comedic tale of aliens and spaceships. And space travel. Again, this wasn't boring, it's just I didn't get the humor, so it was it was a chore. But I didn't hate it too much. Reading it in a smaller format, unlike the first time, did make it a lot easier. But I did forget quite a bit of information, I will say. Well, it's been a few years since I read it. I forgot, for instance, that Zophad and Ford were cousins, semi-cousins. But there were some things I kind of remembered. I remembered about Trillion, for instance. Alright. Well, that is it, folks. If you like science fiction and understand this British humor, I'd recommend giving this a read. You might enjoy it. But you might enjoy it. And if you can find this edition, I recommend it for Chris Riddell's illustrations. He does some really pretty stuff. I have some of his Neil Gaiman books. Speaking of which, you have here a recommendation by old Neil Gaiman. I'm guessing he read this one. Alright, folks, so that is it. Now remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!